Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Srikant Ganvir, Assistant Professor, Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology, Deccan College, Pune. Name of the subject is Indian Culture and name of the course is Art and Architecture of India. Name of the module is Rock Cut Architecture, Mauryan Phase. Mauryans had contributed to Indian art and architecture. They were the first who commenced the cultural tradition of excavating rock cut monuments in India. This module aims at understanding the emergence of rock cut architecture in India. Further, it is also going to discuss the important features of Mauryan rock cut architecture. As the caves of the Mauryan period are associated with the Ajivik sect, so it will also highlight the Ajivik sects, the importance of epigraphical records of the Mauryan period found in the caves are also going to be discussed, and finally the contribution of the Mauryas to Indian rock cut architecture will be briefly discussed. In prehistoric period, we get rock shelters in which prehistoric human beings were lived. The beginning of rock cut architecture can be traced back to the early historic phase, that is the Mauryan phase. The Mauryan rulers were the earliest rulers who were responsible for excavating rock cut caves for the monks, that is again of the Ajivik sect. The Mauryan phase is also known for their contribution in different fields of Indian art and architecture. The earliest known examples of rock cut architecture in South Asia are of Mauryan phase. The association of these rock cut caves with the Mauryan dynasty is based on the inscriptions of the Mauryan phase. The caves were excavated for the monks of Ajivik sect. Before discussing the important features of the Mauryan rock cut architecture and the contribution of the Mauryas to Indian rock cut architecture, it is important to have a brief look at the Ajivikas and their importance. As we know that the 6th century before Common Era was one of the most significant eras in Indian history. This era witnessed immense transformation in different fields of socio-cultural, religious and economic settings of ancient India. Beside the emergence of urbanization, that is second urbanization, this period also witnessed the emergence of different religious thoughts and sects. This period also witnessed the emergence of Buddhism, Jainism and sects such as Ajivikas. The Ajivik sect was contemporary to Buddhism and Jainism. Makhali Gosal was one of the important and leading teachers of this sect, who was earlier associated with the Mahavir, then the founder of Jainism. The various sources such as the archaeological sources, the textual sources furnish important information about the Ajivikas. Vedic texts such as Ashtadhyayi by Panini or the commentary of Ashtadhyayi, that is Mahabhashya by Patanjali, Jain texts such as Bhagavati Sutra, and Buddhist texts such as Digha Nikaya, Majjhima Nikaya provide vital information about the principles and philosophy of this sect. This sect was based on the theory of fate or theory of destiny. So, this sect is also called as a Niyativad, that is the fatalism or the theory based on destiny. This sect denied the role of kamma or karma, that is action in human life. According to this sect, everything is based on someone's destiny, that is niyati, and the human efforts either for the good action or bad action are of no use and they are not going to influence someone's life. Even someone's liberation or salvation from the cycles of birth or death did not depend upon someone's action, as everyone's life was predestined or everyone's life was predetermined on destiny. Recent discovery of Dhaka copper plate of Gupta king Vaingupta throws light on the religious rituals of this sect. Now we are going to see the general introduction of the Mauryan caves. The Mauryan caves are located in Jehanabad district of Bihar. A group of 7 caves, which is divided into 2 groups based on their location, that is Barabar Hills and Nagarjuni Hills, are located 24 km from Gaya, a well-known religious center. The caves were excavated in granite stone. A group of 4 caves at Barabari Hill include Lomas Rishi Cave, Sudama Cave, Vishwakarma Cave and Karna Chaupar Cave. The second group, located at Nagarjuni Hill, includes Gopika Cave, Vapi or Vahiyaka Cave, whose ancient name was Mathika Cave, and Vidathika Cave, whose ancient name was Vadhuyaka Cave. Before discussing the important rock-cut caves of Mauryas, it is important to have a brief look at the salient features of the Mauryan caves. It is very interesting to see that the walls of caves of this phase are also highly polished. These caves are divided into 2 groups on the basis of their plan. The first group includes the caves which have 2 chambers. The outer chamber is rectangular on plan, whereas the inner one is circular. The second group includes the caves which are mostly rectangular on plan. Interestingly, these caves do not have any object of veneration enshrined or carved inside the caves. This map helps us to understand the location of caves. This is a general view of Nagarjuni Hills. This is basically a general photograph showing the general view of 2 caves, that is Lomas Rishi Cave and Sudama Cave. Now we are going to see the brief discussion of important excavations of the Mauryan phase. Now we are going to see the brief discussion of important excavations of the Mauryan phase. Lomas Rishi Cave is well known and important among the Mauryan caves. This cave is notable for the highly ornate facade. The sculptural remains depicted on the facade of this cave are the earliest examples of the narrative art. The cave has two chambers. The outer chamber is rectangular on the plan, whereas the inner one is circular with hemispherical dome. The ceiling of the outer chamber is vaulted one. Only the walls of the outer chamber are highly polished. There is no epigraphic record found in this cave. The cave provides an important evidence of different techniques applied in the rock cut excavation, such as scooping, chiseling and polishing. Now we are going to see. So this is a general view of Lomas Rushi cave. You can see the facade. The facade is intricately carved and one can see the architrave, then the panels on the both sides along with the finial on the top. The cave has circular chamber along with the rectangular chamber on its exterior side. The section helps us to understand different stages of the excavation as this cave remained unfinished. This photograph shows us the unfinished portion of the exterior of the outer chamber, and one can see the vaulted roof in this photograph. Here the details of the narrative art can be seen. A row of elephants who are worshipping circular object which could be identified as a principal object of veneration can be seen. This object is probably one of the earliest depictions of the objection of veneration or objection of worship in Indian art. Details of architrave and the finial can be seen, which shows the craftsmen and the artisans of the Mauryan phase had achieved the mastery in working the stone like granite, which is a very less tractable, and it was difficult task before the Mauryan artist to excavate such a highly embellished facade. Next important excavation in the Mauryan rock cut caves is Sudama cave. Sudama cave follows the similar plan like Lomas Rushi with some minor changes. Sudama cave is highly polished and it is almost finished and completed as compared to the earlier cave, that is Lomas Rushi cave. Facade of this cave is simple. According to the inscription, the ancient name of this cave was Nigoha. For the cave, we get the mention of a specific word, that is a kubha. This cave was donated by Mauryan king Ashok to the Ajivikas. Cave was donated in the 12th regnal year of King Ashok. The facade is very plain and one can see sloping door jambs on both sides. This inscription of King Ashok is an important source to understand the patronage and the donation pattern to the Ajivikas. It reads like Lajina Piyadasina Dua Dashavasa Visitina Iyam Nigoha Kubha Dina Ajivi Kehi. It means when King Priyadashi had been anointed 12 years, this cave Nigoha was made for the Ajivikas. The inscription is in Brahmi script and in Prakrit language. The plan and section of Sudama cave gives a fair idea about its fineness and completeness compared to the Lomas Rishi cave. The interior of the Sudama cave is well finished and the upper part is domical, which can be seen in this photograph. Another important excavation at Barabar Hill is Vishwakarma cave. Vishwakarma cave, like earlier two caves, that is Lomas Rishi cave and Sudama cave, also shares the same plan. But as compared to the earlier caves, this cave is smaller in dimension. It has also the outer rectangular chamber and inner circular cell. The ancient name of the mountain on which this cave was excavated was Khalatika. On the basis of inscription found in this cave was donated by the Mauryan king Ashok to the Ajivikas. Like the Sudama cave, this cave was also donated in the 12th regnal year of Ashoka. Now we are going to see the third excavation at Barabar Hill, that is Vishwakarma cave, which is also known as Vishwajhopari cave. This cave, like earlier two caves, has similar plan. The cave is smaller in dimension as compared to Lomas Rishi cave and Sudama cave. This cave has an outer rectangular chamber and inner circular room. The ancient name of the mountain on which this cave was excavated was Khalatika mountain. Like Sudama cave, this cave was donated by the Mauryan king to the Ajivikas. This cave was excavated in the 12th regnal year of Ashoka. This is a facade of Vishwakarma cave, which is simple as compared to the Lomas Rishi cave and more white. The inscription present in the Vishwakarma caves mentions the donation of King Ashok in his 12th regnal year for the members of Ajivikas in the Khalatika mountain. The inscription is engraved in Brahmi script and in the Prakrit language. On the basis of plan, one can see how this cave is smaller in dimension, and also the cave is not well finished like the Sudama, like earlier cave, that is Sudama cave. The door of the porch and the inside, the inner circular cell give a fair idea about the excavation of this cave. The last cave in the Barabar Hill series is Karna Chaupar cave. This cave shows major difference in its architectural pattern. As compared to first three excavations, this cave is different on plan. The cave is rectangular on plan with vaulted roof. The cave has a low platform on the western end, which is an important feature of this cave. The purpose of this platform cannot be clear, but it seems that probably this platform could have been used for the residential purpose or maybe for some religious rituals. The entire cave is polished. The platform is the only portion which was not polished. On the basis of inscription, this cave was known in ancient time as a Supriya cave, and name of the hill mentioned in the inscription is Khalatika. Like Sudama and Vishwabhkarma caves, this cave was also donated by King Ashok to the members of Ajivikas, but this cave was donated in the 19th regnal year of King Ashok. So this photograph shows the facade of Karna Chaupar cave. As we know, the cave is rectangular on plan, but both ends have semicircular or domical roof, which can be seen in the sections of both ends in this photograph. The west and east walls have semicircular ends. Now we are going to see a series of 3 caves at Nagarjuni Hill. The first among these caves is Gopika cave. The Gopika cave consists of a rectangular chamber. Both ends of this cave are semicircular. So this cave is elliptical on plan. One can see sloping jambs on the both sides of the door. The ancient name of this cave was Gopika. This cave was donated by the grandson of King Ashok, Dashrath, to the members of Ajivika sect, that is the monks of Ajivika sect. The cave was donated for residential purpose and also for cleansing the pain. The inscription of Mauryan King Dashrath is on the top of the facade. So this is the plan of Gopika cave is unique among the Mauryan caves. One can see the domical ends on the both sides of the caves. The last 2 excavations in the Mauryan caves and last 2 excavations at Nagarjuni Hill are known as Vapi and Vidathika. The ancient name of Vapi cave was Matika, whereas the ancient name of Vadathika cave was Vadhuyaka caves. These 2 caves are located close to each other. Both caves share common plan, that is, both caves are rectangular on plan. The Vadathika cave has a narrow porch with vaulted ceiling. Both caves were donated by Mauryan King Dashrath, the grandson of King Ashok, to the Ajivika monks. The caves were donated for the residential purpose and also for the religious purpose. One can see the facade of Vapi cave is plain, whereas one can see the presence of sloping jambs on the facade of Vidathika cave. On the basis of plan, those caves are very simple and plain. Vidathika cave has narrow porch and inner rectangular chamber. The back wall of the Vadathika cave has also a domical or semicircular end. Now we are going to see the important contribution of the Mauryan rock cut architecture to Indian rock cut architecture. These caves are of immense significance, being the earliest known examples of rock cut architecture in the history of Indian architecture. The early Buddhist rock cut monuments must have been inspired by these caves. These caves are the only evidence of any kind of monuments associated with the Ajivika sect. These caves also further throw light on the early monastic life of ancient India, especially of the Ajivik sect. So to summarize, we have been discussing the Mauryan rock cut architecture and their important contribution to Indian rock cut architecture. As we discuss how the earliest examples of Indian rock cut architecture were commenced during the Mauryan phase for the members of the Ajivika sect. These caves are also important to understand the different techniques of excavation which help us to understand the nature of excavation in early period, especially early historic period. For further details, please go through the e-text on the portal of EPG Pathshala.